I feel like video games hate me as a person. Personally, I don't know why. I think that this is a common sentiment. I've seen it endlessly online and in person. And I think it's easy to blame the people who explicitly make the games for feeling this way. Developers always seem to be in the public eye as this nefarious group attempting to inject the great evils of modern life into your gaming masterpiece, like women. Let's be serious here. Let's really try to tackle the root problem. The people who make games don't hate you. It's the people who sell them. Let's illustrate this using a car, for example. To design a car, you need several different teams all working together to create an incredibly regulated product. This machine has to do a ton of things and really cannot be designed exclusively by one person. Sure, you'll have like a lead designer team, maybe you'll have the team overseeing them, but the knowledge required to engineer something like that is far too vast for the lead designers just to handle all by themselves. So your lead designer has created this beautiful team of people all working together to create, a decent suspension, decent tires. I'm not gonna go into too much detail here. The car is perfectly well designed, maybe a little mediocre, but with some novel ideas that could be improved upon in the next iteration. And not a huge surprise, it doesn't sell extremely well. The mainstays are always going to sell a little bit better than newcomer, but the team has some really good ideas and the experience necessary to make a really banger next generation of car. Your lead designers get the whole team together, they're ready, they're in the pre-production phase, they're ready to go, and nothing. They all get fired. Immediately. It's not the upper management that gets fired, it's not the people who okayed the poor marketing strategy that perhaps ruined this car's chances of actually being successful. It's not the people whose job description states that they're accountable for the failures of this overall department. It's the people who did their jobs well, who have to pay. Because of the failure of someone else, they are going to suffer. This is what is happening to the games industry. Few things. First of all, I'm not a game designer. I'm not claiming to be. I am aware that layoffs exist in pretty much every single industry, and I will address layoffs. Lastly, drop a subscribe if you want to see more of this type of content. This is sort of new for me. My last one did pretty well, so I'm trying to pursue it, and thank you very much. If you enjoyed this content, leave a like. Thank you. At their core, the video game's purpose is twofold. It's trying to make you do something in a digital medium, and it's also trying to make you feel something. This is pretty much every other form of mainstream art and entertainment. The movies are exactly the same. It's trying to make you sit in a theater for 2 hours, and it's also trying to make you feel something. Very simple, very reductive. That's not the point. In movies, there's a term for films who didn't inspire a massive turnout in theaters, but years later managed to attract a devoted following, which is, of course, the cult classic. This can resuscitate studios, careers, give people the second chance they always wanted, And I always felt like games were really primed for this sort of labeling, this sort of pitch. You don't have to go to a theater to play a game. There's no real set of weeks that you need to hit in order to watch a game properly. All you have to do to play a game is just put it on your computer or console or phone and just play the game. My point is that with this ease of acquisition and play, games should totally be shooting for this sort of label if they simply cannot compete with the big name releases of their day. On paper, this sounds great for video games, right? Like, you have an entire form, an art form that can simply be consumed in the comfort of your own home, simply through a variety of different digital devices that let you basically take it as you go. And yet, this labeling, I feel like, has become the kiss of death for game studios. Unfortunately, we are in the era of mass layoffs for digital workers. For anyone in a digital industry, you are getting laid off, or you're at least thinking about it. Video games are incredibly difficult to make. They take endless amounts of time just to create. And just to illustrate this, for people who don't play video games, which is hopefully a lot of you, imagine if your cameraman is simply an audience member. Every single audience member, in fact. They're also all 5-year-olds running around attempting to break every single thing in your movie/film, whatever our metaphor is here. Not only that, but the success of your game hinges in large part on what these 5-year-olds say to each other about said game. Here's the thing about 5-year-olds. A lot of the time, they don't actually care if the toy you bought them is from the dollar store or if it's a limited edition $5,000 rare collectible. At the end of the day, it's a Superman toy and they love Superman. IP is safe. There's an established base of people already talking about it when it gets announced, and they're already somewhat invested in it, which is a lot of the battle for selling it. And they might just buy it anyway, even if the game isn't very fun. It's no wonder then that IP has dominated the big budget video game space for so long now. Companies need to make money, I acknowledge this. Not only that, but they need to demonstrate that they will continually make more and more money in the future. It's the reason why so many single player games have microtransactions now. It's the reason why Fallout 76 just exists as a game. It's the reason why I have to pay money to have the privilege of unlocking things by still playing the video game. Is that not ridiculous to you? I have to pay money to be able to unlock stuff by playing it. This is like an issue we solved in 2010. You know, Call of Duty did this perfectly. You know, I played the game, I unlocked the stuff, I get rewarded for playing the game, I play the game. I feel like I'm going crazy sometimes when it comes to talking about games. You know, and most of the time, devs, you know, the people who make the games, they play video games. They know what it's like to play video games. You don't work in this industry if you don't love something about video games. And I don't think it's their fault when it comes to these microtransactions, because it's not their decision. They know what the general consensus is regarding this stuff. A lot of the time, it's just their publishers, it's their parent companies, it's people holding these sales targets over their heads like an axe, because if they don't hit their target, it's their job on the line. EA very famously set insane sales targets for the Dead Space series, to the degree that the last one in the series had to hit frankly insane sales numbers to even keep the team going on the project. And, you know, looking back on it, it's the same Dead Space franchise that got an incredible remake that people bought, people loved, you know? It actually, I think it came out like, what, last year? This year? I don't know. People love this remake. It was incredible. It's getting a ton of praise, and really people love this franchise. It's not the people's fault for not buying this game. People are playing this game. It made people excited for the remake of Dead Space 2 now, which is going to come out hopefully, and that'll be... Right. It got canceled. The remake of the franchise that got canceled because it didn't make enough money, even though it hit crazy sales targets, got canceled because it didn't hit insane sales targets, even though it was incredibly successful. Right? Did I get that right? Did I get that all? I feel like I got that all. I'm going insane. What is happening to that studio, is happening literally everywhere across the gaming industry. You know, and if you're lucky, sometimes you get moved to other different locations. And I suppose we can call this the lucky ones because, you know, at least they kind of kept their jobs, right? They aren't endlessly laid off for no real reason. We should talk about Hi-Fi Rush. Hi-Fi Rush was an incredibly successful game in what I would call the AA space, you know, that comfortably nebulous area between indie and AAA. Their studio was owned by Microsoft, and they released the game without a lot of, you know, budget towards marketing. I didn't even know about it until the release date. It's a quirky action-adventure rhythm game, and everyone I know who played it loved it. Like, literally loved it, man. Every single person loved this game. It reviewed extremely well. You know, it had a devoted fan base. People bought the game. The biggest metric here is people buying the game. People bought the game, okay? Especially for, you know, what this type of genre of game is. It sold. It did well. It still got canned. The reason for this is that these large companies have already decided to can your studio even before you release the game. They're perfectly aware of what your studio is capable of in a reasonable amount of time without completely crushing, you know, your staff and creating just a product that's literally designed to suck money out of you with no pretense at all. And yet they still assign it to your team because, well, your team costs a little bit too much money and, well, we need more teams on Call of Duty, right? As it turns out, it's much easier to discuss layoffs when the product has been sabotaged through deadlines, marketing, than to just, well, close it entirely and write it off. The fact is, if you don't make Call of Duty money, they're either moving you to work on Call of Duty or you're out entirely. The end result on the industry is very similar to layoffs, even if you do get moved, because these people are effectively creatively languishing in places that don't explore their expertise. You know, sure, they're still in the industry, in quotation marks, but the team that mastered optimizing road surfaces in Unreal Engine 5 for the best racing feel you're ever going to get in a video game is currently sitting in Battlefield, you know, as a support studio number 275. You know, is that really exploring what they can do? Is that really exploring what racing games can be? Are we just committed to accepting Forza as like the only racing game ever, and then, you know, Mario Kart comes out every like 13 years? Like, is that where we're at? Is that where we're at? Really? Is that where we're at? I don't know. I feel like I'm going crazy again. By the way, all that information came from this Noodle video. It's a very good video. You should watch it. The fact is, you can't make these professionals with the snap of your fingers, you know, and you can't just fire them all and then hire them back magically out of thin air as you need. These people don't grow on trees. It's the combination of working on an aspect of your craft for a significant period of time combined with your team, you know, each complementing each other so that you can hit your target, your KPI, your area of expertise, and excel. That's industry knowledge, okay? That's people working on games right there. That's what that's about. In my estimation, we're gonna see a notable drought in the AAA space in a few years. It's not gonna be pretty. I think we're in a bit of a golden age right now in terms of video games. Or at least we're gonna look back on it and think, those are the good old days, right? Before insert giant calamity of gaming trend. As much as we complain about how bad it is right now, those super games are gonna be receiving even more pressure from their stakeholders to perform in the future. We're gonna see more and more studios being bought out and folded into gaming conglomerates like Activision Blizzard. You know, as more and more stakeholders decide they want to cash out. The only refuge now is the indie space, and even then they face a lot of challenges with hostile publishers and just straight up showing people, you know, that they have a video game at all. People have limited budgets nowadays. We can't just afford to buy every single cool game we see on Twitter, and if the average Joe is presented a choice between a safe $90 IP continuation on console versus a smaller, indie, more experimental game on PC, you know they're picking Call of Duty, right? We are consistently being shoved into IP and familiar things, comfortable things, the same things, because people are okay with the same. And I hope that one day we can push out of that and get some new stuff in here, because I don't want to play Call of Duty 50 million or Call of Duty spin-off 50 million or any other type of game here endlessly. There's a few genres and games, before I close out this video, that are doing really well right now, and I think I'd be remiss to not talk about them. The indie space right now is always doing pretty good. I see a lot of games being promoted on Twitter, stuff like that, just developers posting their videos and people loving it. I love it. I think it's great. I play a lot of fighting games right now, and fighting games are doing awesome. You know, Tekken, you know, yeah, Street Fighter 6, Mortal Kombat, if you like that, I guess. Stuff like that. It's cool. It's cool. I think we're getting like a new King of Fighters, maybe Virgin. Anyway, there are genres of games that are successful, but the issue is, as belts tighten, we're gonna basically optimize the gaming industry into becoming a giant Call of Duty simulator of what is the most profitable option with the least amount of cost. And somehow right now that's basically 2K, that's Call of Duty, that's all these sports games, and that's basically your default shooter with a bunch of skins in it. That's what people spend money on. And I don't want to blame the average consumer for that. You know, the consumer, you know, they're going to buy skins. They're going to buy unoptimized Call of Duty games that force them to buy more storage for the game. You know, they're going to pay for exorbitant gambling schemes covered up through flashy lights and athletes' names. I don't want to blame people for doing that, because that's how people play video games. It's not very fair to them. And yeah, sure, I don't really get it, to be honest with you, but I also don't want to be that guy that's like, ugh, I only play real video games and you're playing the popular video game. You know, that's just boring. That's reductive, and that's not helpful right here, you know? People play video games for a variety of reasons. Some people play to experience art. I like to play to beat up my friends in a fighting game, and some people play to get away from the drudgery of modern life. Why are we trying to judge people for that? But I also know that we have to move away from this trend of endlessly recycling IP and ideas and gameplay elements until we're just kind of in a loop, because it feels like we already are in that loop right now. You know, ironically, I'm playing a game called Marvel Rivals right now in the playtest. I just hit gold. It's pretty exciting for me. It's basically Overwatch, but a little bit worse. It's in a playtest, and it's Marvel Heroes instead of Overwatch Heroes. And I'm having a very good time with it. It's sick. It's fun. I love it. And I think the reason for that is that there is no way for me to spend money in it at all. The gameplay is quick. I basically press the button and I'm in the game. The battle pass, I don't have to pay for it. It's a little annoying. It's kind of just how they gate away like playing for levels in the playtest, but it's cool. I don't have to pay. I don't have to spend money on this game. And I know it's free, but it still feels nice to not have to spend money on a video game anymore. Isn't that sad? I'm playing like a clone, and I'm happy that it just isn't draining money out of my wallet anymore. It isn't endlessly asking me to spend and spend and spend. Isn't it exhausting to just be constantly asked for more of your money? My point is, I had fun in Marvel Rivals. I'm still playing it, actually. It's why I haven't slept, because I'm in between videos and Marvel Rivals, but I know that devs want me to have that experience of playing with my friends and having fun. I can tell, I can feel it through the game design. I'm just worried that shareholders are going to demand that I pay nonstop for even dreaming of having that experience. Thank you. This was a tricky video to make. It's basically just me yelling at video game, and I want to make it a little more accessible to people who don't play video games, but I don't know if I succeeded. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. Yeah, game is hard. Game is hard. Video game industry sad. Video game industry bad. Check out your indies. You know, they're actually very fun. Check out like BattleBit if you want like a shooter that doesn't feel like it's sucking money out of you. Check out like Trepang 2 if you want like a single player shooter. That's pretty cool. I have like 300, 400 hours in Gunfire Reborn. It's like a roguelite. If you don't know what that is, you should look into it because it's cool. Play Hades, man. Play fighting games. Get into fight. Whatever, man. Okay, I'll see you next week. I'm thinking of moving my release schedule to Friday instead of Thursday just because it gives me a little more time to actually finish videos since I'm doing the green screen stuff. But yeah, thank you.